Hey everyone, my name is Sam from NextGen. Today, we're going over part 1 of 3 clever interview strategies you can use now to land your next job in IT. At NextGen, we help you go from zero to engineer. Unlike other typical education, NextGen really measures its success on how many students get jobs, not just by how many students actually graduate our program. This is really important to us. As head of career services, I've helped hundreds of students go through the job seeking process. And I want to share a few tips of what I've seen to be the ultimate most successful things to set you apart from the competition. All right, let's dive into it. So the agenda, 3 different things. First, how to create your own powerful network the right way and how leaving this to chance could cost you your dream job. The second thing we're going to go over is the easy way to beat out highly qualified individuals and create instant rapport with a hiring manager. Third, what you must and can do immediately if you want to stand out in your next interview. So the first important question, how many jobs are filled through networking? Can you guys guess? About 85% of jobs are filled through networking. That's huge. And this has just been increasing more and more each year. If you're changing industries into IT or if your network is limited, then this might seem like a concerning number as you're trying to get a job. But the good news is that I'm going to teach you how to drastically expand your personal network, something that you can literally do today. But before even going into that, I think it's important to even define what networking is. When networking, you are finding an authentic way to share your personal brand. And that just means who you are and what you can do to offer others. And if you're someone thinking that I don't have a network or my network is really limited, think again. Whether you've been good at building your network up to this point, that's part of what NextGen offers. We offer a community, which is made up of thousands of our current students, also alumni students and professional field mentors that volunteer their time to connect with students. And that's just not doing big group calls, but that's actually doing one-on-one with individuals. 2 days ago, we had a mentor from Amazon from network engineering actually do a practice interview with one of our students, which is pretty cool. But all of us together at NextGen, we make up part of like your strong community and new network. But for the sake of this webinar, I'm going to focus on digital networking and how you can go about doing that and pinpoint the job that you want. So how are our students landing jobs so easily at NextGen? The secret is really informational interviews. What are informational interviews? Let's say you're looking for a job at a specific company. You want to talk to people on different teams. Or you might want to talk to a specific person who has a unique perspective on the industry and company. Let's say you had a family member that worked at Cisco and you're trying to get a job at Cisco. Would you ask them questions about it? Yeah, you probably would. Having that person that you can go to and ask questions and learn more about the company, that's huge. This kind of conversation is called an informational interview, an essential tool and way for you to actually land a job. So some of you might be thinking, or if I was you, I would probably be thinking, oh no, I can't do that. It's weird. I don't want to reach out to a stranger. But don't think like this. Let's focus on what you can do. Think about the other way around. If someone came up to you that was in high school and asked you to tell them about your first job out of high school and what kind of roles or jobs they should consider or what different departments to look into, what would you do in that scenario? What would you tell that high schooler? You'd be happy to share your insights. And that's exactly what you're asking for here, is you're asking for someone else to share the insights from what they've learned. Why does this work? People naturally want to help others and talk about what they know best, which is what they've experienced personally. That's basically what an informational interview is and what you're doing here by networking. Let's take a look at one of our students, Marcus, who used an informational interview to land his job that same day.
I felt like I wasn't able to apply to anything before I had an actual cert because I had no prior experience in the field. but at least the cert could have been something on the resume to get an entry-level job. That wasn't the case. I applied to so many entry-level positions, and I don't think they were looking at me because of my lack of experience. I ended up going across the street to my Station S6 department, which they're basically the IT guys of the Marine Corps. And I asked if I could shadow them so I can actually get some hands-on experience that I could put on my resume. And 2 days in, I was helping them with a problem earlier that day. And ironically, it was something that Rob Reicher actually mentioned on a coaching call the day before. And it was the same exact problem. It was an orphaned port. We all helped out each other collaboratively, and they saw that I knew like Cisco commands for someone that doesn't have any experience. And the regional director for the leading contracting company actually stopped by earlier that day. And the two government employees that were like the bosses of the place, they referred me over to him while he was there. And he pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, these guys said that you've been shadowing them recently and you see that you like the job, you know your stuff, and they referred you. Would you like to have a job here?" And I was like, wow, that's crazy. No way. Yeah, that's how I got the job. I ended up getting a mid position instead of the junior position. So that was an even better thing. I completely skipped the help desk out in the commercial industry and went right into a network administrator type of role. It's like the stars aligned, and it all helped out thanks to NextGen and teaching me what I knew, so that way I can apply it. And they all saw that. And they were surprised.
But you even putting the effort to go shadow someone and to put in the time and the effort, that ended up paying off really fast.
Yes, it did. A lot more than just applying online and hoping someone would pick me up.
Marcus isn't the only one of our students that has took the initiative to build his own network and land his dream IT job. How did these success students actually go about doing it? Informational interviews. I can't tell you how important, how much they can set you apart from the competition. Our students at NextGen know how critical this is. They've taken this concept, put themselves out there, and gotten remarkable jobs and results because of it. Let's dive a little bit more into what informational interviews are and how you can actually do them. So there are 3 different goals of an informational interview. First, and of course, these are all best case scenario goals, all 3 of these things can happen. And we've seen all of them happen with our students. But it's really important to go into this humbly. That's really important. So first, you can get helpful information to use within your interview with the hiring manager. Or also information to decide if you actually want to work at the company. Remember that you're interviewing them also. It's not just them interviewing you. By doing informational interviews, you can really take that information, and if it's not a company or a culture that you think you would fit in, then you don't have to work there, and you learn that before even accepting the position. That's huge. Second, it gives you the chance to make a good impression. Just as Marcus did, he asked really intelligent questions, and he solved a problem for this company that current employees couldn't solve. By offering that value immediately, he didn't know he was going to do that. He just went in for an informational interview, but he ended up getting a job because of it. And third, as many of our students see, you can get a job referral from a current employee at the company. And if you actually get a referral because they really liked you for the company that you're looking to interview with, you are already way above all the other candidates that are applying if you have that. And that's a very realistic thing that can happen and does happen to our students. The informational interview in 5 steps. First, you're going to go on LinkedIn. If you don't already have a LinkedIn account, make one. This is essential. If you have an interview coming up with a company or have a dream company you want to work for, then you can search for the company directly on LinkedIn by just typing in the company name. Once you have that pulled up, you'll see a variety of different of their employees for that company. Here you can find people with a similar job title, one that you're interviewing for at the company. And the 4th step is to actually connect with them. Send them a message. Introduce yourself and ask them for the informational interview. If it's a local company or a local branch, try and meet up with them in person. Having that in-person interaction can go a long way. If you don't have the opportunity to do this, you can always schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with them. That's great as well. But you want to ask them really educated questions during the informational interview. You don't want to ask them stuff that you can easily Google or do your own research. That doesn't look good and it's a waste of their time. You don't want that. Ask them real questions of things that you can't find anywhere on the internet or anywhere on the company's website. So what do these questions look like? Here are a few different types of questions that you could ask them. For more questions and advice on what to ask and actually what not to ask, you can download my full content PDF below. But here are a few questions. You could ask questions like, what is your job like? If you could do it all over again, would you choose the same path for yourself? What do you like most about your work? What about least? What are your responsibilities? It can go really a full range. Just make sure that they're not questions, once again, that you can find online. That's important. So if you really want to give yourself some extra shine, which you should, here are a few different things that you can also do. Make sure that you're taking notes through the conversation, especially if you're doing multiple informational interviews. It gets really easy to jumble these up, especially if they're at different companies. And if you're bringing in the wrong information when you're going in to actually interview with the hiring manager, that doesn't look so good. Second, send a thank you email within 1 to 2 days. This may sound basic to some people, but you wouldn't believe how many people don't send a thank you email. Just this alone, you're putting your name in front of them again. You are showing that you are a professional as well. And people really appreciate that. They want to go out of their way for people that appreciate their time and care about them. When you're doing an informational interview, make sure to actively listen. You can do this by nodding. Repeat back what you actually heard them say. But don't try and finish their sentences or interject something that you know about something unless it's an appropriate time to do so. Most of the time, you should really be asking questions, but listening. Listening is so important. At the end, make sure to thank the person for their time and insights. Person doesn't have to do this with you. For them to go out of their way and to spend like 15 or 30 minutes to talk to you and to give these insights about maybe their company or what they do and to share that with you, just make sure to be thankful for them. And also, something that most people don't end up doing is let this person know what happened in the job interview. Let them know how it went, what went well, what didn't, and it's another opportunity to put yourself in front of them. Even if you didn't get the job at that company, you never know where this person is going to go to next. This is just, once again, a chance for you to expand your network. So this person, it's a small world, could come around in 5 years and remember your name because you guys connect on LinkedIn. And because you've kept that relationship going, it's a chance for them to reach out to you and maybe you can get hired at that job 5 years later. You never know. So how can you get started now? What are some things that you can do right now to get started? You can take a moment to research and list 3 to 5 people that currently work at your dream company to ask them for an informational interview. Utilize LinkedIn for this. Find someone you know in common. For example, by researching on LinkedIn, you can see both first and second and third connections. So you can see if there's any common people that you can ask them to do an intro for you. Or you can look up their contact info and send an email or personal message. A good little hack about this is that oftentimes at companies, people will have their first name and then at whatever the company name is. Or they'll have their name dot last name. You can almost send it to a bunch of different variations of their name and try and test the email to see if it goes through. I've done that before very successfully and gotten interviews with CEOs and so forth. It's a good hack to know about. If you're still considering a career in IT and not yet in our program, then I recommend scheduling a few informational interviews to find out what an IT career might look like. We want to make sure that you know that this career is right for you before jumping into our program. Once you're ready, schedule a call with a member of our career strategy team to start taking action and building a career in IT that you know that you're going to love. Thank you for joining in on this. This is part 1 of 3. The second part, we're going to be going over actual interview strategies and how to ace that interview. Once again, my name is Sam Stuber, and I will see you in the next webinar. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you want to receive parts 2 and 3 of the webinar, make sure to check the description below, click on the link, and sign up to receive parts 2 and 3.